Today, I let AI take the wheel. I wanted to see if AI could play Farming Simulator better than I could. I wondered if I might be able to learn something new from letting AI call the shots. I used Google Gemini and I asked it to play a game of Farming Simulator. It jumped at the opportunity and chose the Elm Creek map from Farming Simulator 22. It gave me all the parameters I needed for setting up a new save, such as hard economic difficulty, crop destruction on, and using seasons and more. Then my first instructions were to buy Block 1, Fields 44, 45, and 46. From there, I was instructed to purchase equipment. It did this by price point, choosing smaller entry-level equipment over larger machines in order to save money. I spent a total of $550,428, leaving a total of $949,572 remaining. So far, AI was showing a lot more constraint than I would have. If I was in charge, I would be flat broke already, having purchased much more expensive equipment and larger fields. I was then instructed to use the new equipment to harvest canola from Field 47. I was to take the harvest and store it in a community storage silo. Completing the canola harvest and storing 2,208 liters, I was then instructed to lease the soil sampler and get the needed information about my 3 fields. I tried the best I could to not run over any crops. The one thing I really didn't agree with was leaving crop destruction on. The fields were already small enough as it is, but to run over crops and destroy some was even worse. So when I had to run over these little crops, it just made me cringe. Now that was done, the AI had me purchase a seeder and a spreader. My task was to spread lime on the field and bring up the pH value to 6.5, then use the direct drill seeder with fertilizer to plant more canola. Now that I had all that purchased, I'm going to go over here to the barn and I'm going to pull out the seeds and the fertilizer so I can fill up the seeder and get that ready to plant the canola. Now that I've got the lime on the field, my field is all prepped, and now I can be able to fill up the seeder with seeds and fertilizer. And now I'm going to plant canola. And then the finishing touch, the AI is going to have me buy a roller. So I'm going to get this really cheap one over here. And I will finish out rolling the field. And that will set everything up for me to be able to have canola next year. So far, with the exception of saving money wherever possible, the AI is playing the game almost exactly as I would. It's having me buy a small plot, it's having me harvest, it's having me plant, get ready for the next sowing. So things are going pretty similar as to how I would play. Next, I'm taking it upon myself. I'm actually doing something that the AI didn't tell me to do. But I am going to place this storage shed right over here in this corner. And I purchased a house so that I have a place to be able to store everything, because already my implements are too many for me to be able to store in the barn that I've got. And I need a place to be able to sleep so that I can be able to go to the next day. So I bought a cheap shed and I bought a cheap house, and I've got those set up even though AI didn't tell me to. I then did a sleep cycle. It is now September 1st, and my instructions are to buy a sprayer for herbicide and fertilizer. But I went with such a cheap option for a sprayer that I bought one for herbicide and I bought one for fertilizer. And I put them as green and red to be able to keep them straight. I then went and I got myself some herbicide and some fertilizer to be able to fill those up so that I can be able to spray the weeds that are already growing in my canola and then fertilize that field so it is set up for me to have a good harvest next year. So far, I still have over $800,000 in the bank, so I'm doing really well on that. Here, I'm going to move the herbicide sprayer and get it away from the other sprayer so that when I fill this up, it doesn't accidentally switch and put the wrong one in the wrong sprayer. So I'm just separating them so that I can be able to fill them up properly. And then I get my tractor and I'm going to get that started. Next, the AI had me purchase 3 more fields. Fields 47, 48, and 49, which are actually blocks 2, 3, and 4. So the AI is just going right up through the numbers here. But I had plenty of money to be able to do so, so I got those going. The first task was to immediately harvest the sorghum, get that harvested and put it in the silo along with the canola. So I pulled out the harvester and I got that going once again. And with this, I have got roughly 7,500 liters of sorghum. And then after that harvest, I sprayed fertilizer on the canola field be able to get that fully set up. And then the AI instructed me to bring in chickens. It had me save 2,000 liters of that canola, or the sorghum, that we just harvested from the previous field, and we're going to use that to feed our chickens. It wanted me to purchase the small chicken barn capable of 350 chickens. So I purchased that barn and then used the sorghum to feed the chickens. And then it wanted me to purchase 100 chickens. So I came over here to the animal menu and I purchased 100 6-month-old chickens so that the chickens can be able to start laying eggs immediately. And then I took it upon myself to buy just a couple of roosters to be able to liven up the chicken field a little bit, the chicken barn. And so now I've got chickens. Next, I am back to spreading lime, and then we are going to plant wheat here on this field. Wheat is going to give us straw that we can be able to use along with the wheat crop itself. Wheat is also going to be able to help us feed the chickens. The AI also had me spray the cornfield and the cotton field with herbicide because the previous owners hadn't kept up on the fertilizer. So we got those two fields brought up. Then I was instructed to purchase a subsoiler for $10,500, leaving me $557,000 left in the bank. AI chose this particular subsoiler because it will give us our plowing state for the field, but it will leave a better texture and things of that sort as well. But before I plant the wheat, AI had me take this contract of harvesting sorghum over here on field 32 to be able to make a quick buck. So with the completion of that contract, we made a total of $15,000, bringing us up to $563,000 in total. Then I accepted a contract for being able to spray fertilizer on the field. That contract got us roughly $5,000. And then it was back to our own farm where I started planting wheat on field 48. One of the things that the AI had me do was to keep an eye on the sale and discount. And as I kept feeding it information, telling it what was available, the prices that it had, and what it found was this Case 436 baler. It liked it, so it had me purchase that. And so we could be able to use that. But then I took it upon myself once again to be able to buy a washer and the maintenance barn here so that I can be able to perform maintenance and things of that sort on our equipment, keep those clean, keep them well running. Then we were on to October 1st, and one of the first things that the AI had me do was to purchase a corn header for our harvester so that we can be able to harvest that cornfield and pull that in and get it stored up. I purchased the smallest corn header there was that would fit our machine for $53,000. That put us roughly at $400,000, just over $400,000 in cash available. I then put the regular header on and I harvested the soybeans in these two fields. Took them over to our silo and got those all stored. Nearly 3,500 liters of soy. So there's everything that we've got inside the silo so far. Then the AI had us take another contract real quick. And then we harvested this field of soybeans as well, where instead of just filling everything up, what the AI had instructed me to do was to complete the contract on this field, but then keep any remaining soy after the contract and store that up until the prices are better, and then we would sell it all at once. But that contract brought me in that $12,000. And then I filled up my trailer with the remaining soy and took it over and stored it. Then it was on to harvesting the corn and getting that done and taken care of. And with that, our totals now came up to canola 2,207, sorghum 4,900, soybeans 9,800, and corn 8,894. That was all the harvesting that we have done for October, and then it was back onto contracts to be able to do some plowing to make a little extra money. Then, with the completion of those 5 contracts, we made a total of $13,900. And then it was on to our biggest contract we had so far. The AI had us do the grass and baling for field 71. So I got that all mowed, got it all baled, took it all to the farmer's market. Well, I didn't take it all. I did save some. I saved a whole entire load of bale, of hay to be able to keep for ourselves and be able to use for our upcoming cow purchase. But that contract of baling and making hay netted us $55,800. Then I took it upon myself to take these silage contracts. And so I began mowing and then getting the fields in the upper area, getting those mowed, then raking them up, baling them, and of course wrapping them into silage. After that, I picked up all the bales and I took them over to the animal barn, where one by one I started putting them in until the contracts were all completed, so that I can save as many of the silage bales as I could for myself. And this was all done under the instruction of the AI. It was the AI that suggested taking it one by one, keeping as many bales as we could, because it was the AI's plan to be able to purchase cows next. So there are my two stacks, one silage, one hay. And then right over here is where we're going to put the cow barn. So I filled in the field with grass. Then I placed the smallest cow barn that was available. And then I got the manure storage so that we can be able to get that manure from the cow barn. And then I just began tidying up the field, putting in a road, putting in some extras, making things as pleasant and as nice as I could. Took it upon myself to add a few trees. Which brought the final cost of this entire project up to $309,551, leaving us a total of $189,979. And this is where things started to go off the rails. The AI is extremely susceptible to suggestion, and though it had told me to keep an eye on the sales tab, when I told it about the case cotton harvester, I got the feeling that the AI was just following whatever prompt I was giving it. Immediately, it had told me to buy the harvester, where I had to take out a loan for $135,000 to do so. It was okay with taking the loan, convinced that we would be able to make back the money quickly. But once I had spent all our money, I was then forced to keep taking more loans to buy the remaining items we needed for the cows, such as a mixing wagon and a hay shredder. In no time at all, I was $200,000 in debt with only a little bit of money in the bank. Having a lot of experience with debt and Farming Simulator, I was not as optimistic as the AI was in making that money back. But I wasted no time. I got to work right away making up some total mixed ration for the cows that I still had to buy. After getting the cows fed, getting them some straw, I took a nap, and then the next morning, I got to work harvesting the cotton in our field. This is where the truth of the AI's wisdom is put to the test. If I make a large sum of money harvesting and selling cotton, as the AI said I would, then I will admit the AI was right. If not, then I will be proven right in that the AI is merely just following along with whatever information I give it. And it really isn't taking charge of the situation. It's just merely waiting for me to make the choices for it. I'm emptying out the harvester, and then I rented a trailer to be able to pick up the bale and take it to the Johnson's Farmer Market, where I'm going to sell it. At the market, I unload the bale, where we make $22,630. And to me, this was proof that the purchase of the cotton harvester was a bad idea, and that the AI just merely bought it because I had said it was on sale. Maybe it would be right. Given enough time, maybe it would have made the money back. Maybe we would have made some large profits with cotton contracts. But I still wouldn't be convinced that in the end, I was the one making all the choices. So after selling back the harvester and paying off the loan, I called an end to the game with a total of $43,423 in the bank. I did learn a good lesson about managing money wisely and being careful about making large expenditures early on in the game. And given the opportunity, I would consult AI to examine all the angles in making some choices again. But I think from now on, I will be in charge of playing the game. If you liked what you see, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you liked what you saw, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm still very new to YouTube, so it really does help me a lot. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time on my next video. Bye!